off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS Sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings NBA slate for Thursday, February 13th. It is the final NBA slate for a week due to the NBA All-Star break, so there's a little respite there. First things first, thank you for all your support. I truly do appreciate it. Cheers to you all. Grab a coffee and Bailey's. I hope you enjoy the show. I really appreciate all your support, making me a part of your day, all the kind words. It's truly humbling. Thank you all very much. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit subscribe down below. Get access to all of our content. Our fantasy draft NBA video for today is up. Later today, I will have the XFL Week 2 video up. Putting the final touches on that as soon as I finish recording this. So there will be a lot of stuff up. I appreciate that. Our Window Liquor, our second annual Window Liquor Awards, I'm shooting to have those out Monday or Tuesday, so that should be a lot of fun. Voting will be out in the Twitter sphere. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor to vote for your favorite winner of those awards. Also, you can follow me on Twitter for all the injury news throughout the day. It's only a 2-game slate, so hopefully we're not riddled with it, but you never know, man, with the NBA. So there is all of that. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. I've been having a lot of fun with that. The sweat is a lot of fun. I'm coming so close to the jackpot and then 1 3-point. It's a lot of fun. OverlayDFS.com. You get a deposit bonus, a 50% deposit bonus up to $100 when you first deposit. Make sure you DM them when you first deposit to notify them that you watch the show and you want your 50% deposit. Hit them up on Twitter at OverlayDFS or email them. You can email Eric Alvarez at Overlay DFS. And if you have any questions with that, you feel free to ask me in the Twitter sphere in the comment section. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy Overlay. I've been having a lot of fun with that. So, day before Valentine's Day, the best advice I could give you, we got a 2-game slate. I mean, I'm not going to wow you with analysis, right, on a 2-game slate. But the best money-saving advice I could give you right now is if you are in a casual relationship, dating for a few months, etc., not husband and wife. I don't want, you husbands to walk into the house and you see a picture of the guy named Lonnie, who's the 300 bowler down the street, superimposed on all your family photos. That's not what we're advocating for here. But if you're in a casual relationship and you want to save a little bit of money for DFS this weekend, you need to dump that person now. And if you still want to be with them, just apologize on Monday. You skip the Valentine's Day nonsense, save yourself a couple $100, put it on DFS. It's the best advice I could give you. Again, not advocating that for husbands and wives. We don't want Lonnie replacing dad on the family photos. Okay, we don't want that. But we've been dating 6 months. Dump her for a couple days, or him. Dump him for a couple days. Boom, get back together on Monday. Save yourself a couple $100. Best advice I could give you for this weekend. So, let's get into it. Again, it's a 2-game slate, so if you're playing tournaments and you're shooting for the top, the best thing you can do is leave salary on the table. Try to do something different to stand out because there's going to be a lot of ties. There's going to be a lot of similar lineups, especially in mass multi-entry tournaments. You're going to have tons of people entering 150 lineups. There's only so many combinations you can have, so leaving salary on the table, doing something different is the best way to stand out. Also, for you new people, by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. That will be announced on our first video next week. It's usually on Mondays, but of course there is no Monday NBA video. So that'll be announced next week. Draft Dashboard is a tool that we're going over all of our stats, research, usage, history versus team. You can set your exposures here in the mass player pool, mass lineup generator, or you can use it in the lineup optimizer. You can get access to this tool and my player pool for every sport simply by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard 30 days for $1. So let's get into it. At point guard, we got Chris Paul at the top, 7-8 on Fanduel, 7-1 on Draftkings. New Orleans allows the second most, fantasy points in the league two opposing point guards. We know the affinity that Chris Paul has for New Orleans, a long-time New Orleans Pelican. Yeah, I like Chris Paul a lot. Back in his sort of NBA hometown. I think it's a great play tonight. Paced up game. New Orleans plays at a very fast pace. So all the guards for Oklahoma City, Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all should have extra possessions. Paced up game. New Orleans is bad defensively back there. So all of them are in a good spot tonight. Kemba Walker probably won't be super overly owned. No Patrick Beverley for the Clippers does make life easier for Kemba Walker on the perimeter. Now, they could always throw Paul George. If Kemba Walker starts going off, throw Paul George or Kawhi on him. They're both perfectly capable of defending him. Kemba Walker, 7K on FanDuel, 7-3 on DraftKings. The Clippers are 12th against opposing point guards. When you look at his last 5 against the Clippers, kind of a mixed bag. A couple of 20s in there, a couple of 30s, and a 61. That's always the case with Kemba Walker. If you remember, he was last year's R. Kelly Award winner, Window Liquor Award winner for pissing on your lineup, if you guys remember that from last year. Anyways, I digress. Lonzo Ball, 6-6 on FanDuel, 7K on DraftKings, a 28 and a 34 in his last 2 against Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City 17th against opposing point guards. I think he's a fine play as well. And then boom, it's down to the value guys. Landry Shamet. Of course he's going to be in play. He's going to play close to 30 minutes. He's 4-3 on FanDuel, 4-8 on DraftKings. Boston 11th against opposing point guards, shooting guards, a 22 and a 27 in his last 2 games against Boston. And if you're looking for like a contrarian value guy who's going to see about 20 minutes, guys like Brad Wanamaker, Frank Jackson, if Brandon Ingram's out, could see a few minutes as well. Again, those are deep, deep sleepers, but sprinkling some exposure to them, especially if you're making 50, 140 lineups to try to set yourself apart. Maybe Kemba Walker rolls an ankle early in the first quarter and Brad Wanamaker gets more minutes. You never know. Those are the kind of things you got to do on a 2-game slate. Let's go to shooting guards. So we're still waiting on really the big injury news of the whole day. The biggest question of the whole day is will Brandon Ingram play or not? Obviously, if he plays, it hurts the usage rate for Jrue Holiday, etc. I'll be surprised if he plays. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to rush him back the last day before the All-Star break when they're going to get a week off anyways. Jrue Holiday against Oklahoma City, who are 17th against opposing shooting guards. A nice solid history against Oklahoma City. He has 3 straight games in the high 30s, and then he has a 62 and a 62. I like Jrue Holiday. I like his price, 7-4 on DraftKings. You can sign me up for that. SGA, we just talked about it. That New Orleans defense, 12th against shooting guards, a little bit better because guys like Josh Hart, etc., will defend there, who are much better defenders than guys like, Frank Jackson. Lonzo Ball's an okay defender, but it's a paced up game. So all these guards are in play. He's 6'5" on DraftKings. Come on, that's just way too cheap. DraftKings pricing is really, really soft today. That's what she said. So you're going to have a lot of time you're going to have a lot of ways you can build almost any lineup that you want. So it's going to be an interesting night. I expect a lot of ties. It's going to be clumped up. You're going to have the cash line, your first place and the cash line are going to be very, very close together. There's going to be a lot of people jumbled up there. But I do like SGA in a paced up game. When you look at his last 3 against New Orleans, a 41, an 18, and a 32. But SGA playing much better this year. Of course, I like him. Dennis Schroeder, we talked about that as well, playing 30-plus minutes off the bench, 50-point upside. He's had a couple of stinkers in his last 3 games overall. He was on a nice roll, but he did have a 17 in his last game and then a 37 and a 22, so he's struggling a bit. But again, New Orleans allowing the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing point guards. He's 6'4" on FanDuel, 5'8" on DraftKings, a 36, a 35, and a 24 in his last 3 against New Orleans. Next, Lou Williams. With Patrick Beverley being out, they have been starting Lou Williams. 5'5" on FanDuel, 6'1" on DraftKings. Much better value on FanDuel. Boston, 11th against opposing shooting guards. A 31, a 43, a 28, a 33, and a 34 in his last 5 against Boston. I do like Lou Williams quite a bit tonight. Some value-ish guys. You got Josh Hart, 5K on FanDuel, 5'6" on DraftKings. If Brandon Ingram is out, he has been the one who's benefited the most in terms of starting and in minutes, playing 30 minutes a night. He's been scoring in the 30s. In fact, in his last 5 games overall, only 1 game under 32. Oklahoma City is 4th against opposing shooting guards, but I do like Josh Hart a lot. When you look at his last 4 against Oklahoma City, a 43, a 40, an 18, and a 38, big-time upside in that matchup. Marcus Smart, of course, is in play. Now, if everyone's healthy and playing, Kemba, Jaylen Brown, etc., he'll probably come off the bench, but he'll still play 25 to 30 minutes if it's a close game. They're going to need his defense I am sure, especially if Paul George or Kawhi start going off, they will throw Marcus Smart on him. 37 and a 23 in his last two against the Clippers. Of course, Marcus Smart at home is in play. And for some contrarian value, a guy like JJ Redick playing, 20 to 25 minutes. His shooting has picked up over the last 3 games or so, a 25, a 40, and a 24. Oklahoma City, number 1 against small forwards, shooting guards, whatever they're putting JJ Redick at. He has a 21, a 26, and a 25 in his last 3 against Oklahoma City. I think JJ Redick is a fine value option tonight and probably not over-owned. There are a couple of guys down here that are just fantasy duds, but they do play some minutes. Rodney Magruder, he's at minimum salary on DraftKings playing 20 minutes. He's got some 20-point upside. And Luguentz Dort, they've been playing him 20 minutes, but he doesn't do a damn thing with it. So that's just like a desperation play. Terrence Ferguson, the same thing. I'm not playing those guys, but they will have minutes if you're trying to be super, super contrarian. There you go. Those are the guys you go with. Let's go to small forward. Small forward, of course, Paul George at the top. 8-3 on Fanduel, 7-9 on DraftKings. Boston 7th against opposing small forwards. A 41 and a 52 in his last 2 games against Boston. Now, his minutes haven't been huge, but that's because they've been beating the shit out of people. So even in 25 minutes, a 41. In 24 minutes, a 38. In 25 minutes, a 44. That's what he's been up to. He's priced right. I like Paul George. Of course, we'll have exposure to him in a 2-game slate. Gordon Hayward, 6-8 on FanDuel, 6-7 on DraftKings. The Clippers are 5th against opposing small forwards. Probably one of the players I'll have the least amount of exposure to. It's just tough defensively. He's either going to have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on him all game long. Going to be tough. I'll have some exposure to him, of course, because it's a 2-game slate, but not a ton. Danilo Gallinari right below that, 6-1 on FanDuel, 5-6 on DraftKings. New Orleans is 23rd against opposing small forwards. A 41 and a 37 in his last 2 games against New Orleans. In fact, in his last 5 games against New Orleans, only 1 game under 36. I like Gallinari a lot more than Gordon Hayward tonight. Paced up game against New Orleans. You could sign me up for that. A guy with big upside who's priced pretty low, but of course there's a wide range of outcomes with him, is Jaylen Brown. 5-7 on FanDuel, 6K on DraftKings. Boston, or the Clippers, 17th against opposing shooting guards, like we talked about, small forwards. They might have Gordon Hayward in at power forward and Brown as a small forward. Again, Boston's kind of fluid with that. Multiple players play multiple positions for that team. He's playing a ton of minutes. He's back to healthy. His last 5 against the Clippers, only 1 game over 25. That was a 39. So there's certainly some risk factor, but we know when he gets rolling, he does have that big upside. So in a 2-game slate, of course, you're going to consider him. And then you have Marcus Morris, 5-2 on FanDuel, 5K on DraftKings. Boston 15th against power forwards. Excuse me. Of course, we know the revenge narrative here. Played for the Celtics for a few years, was an excellent defender for them, was just a part of the Celtics last season. Back in Boston, I think that he'll be a little bit more motivated. His last time he played Boston, he put up a 49 against them. Love that. Sign me up for some Marcus Morris. I guess if you want to get real desperate for a guy who's going to play, 12, 13, maybe 20 minutes, Etuan Moore could be an interesting contrarian value play there as well. Let's go to power forwards. You got Kawhi, 9-9 on FanDuel, 9-1 on DraftKings. We talked about it. Boston 7th against opposing power forwards. Not the greatest history against Boston. In his last, the first 3 games, if you look at his last 2 against Boston, a 39 and a 36. The previous 3, a 52, a 62, and a 48. Big upside. There's plenty of value on here. You're going to have exposure to Kawhi. Enough said. Jason Tatum, 8-8 on FanDuel, 8-2 on DraftKings. The Clippers are going to be a tough matchup for him, in my opinion. He will see Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, especially if he gets rolling. His last time out against the Clippers, he did put up a 51. He has been very consistent over the last 10 games or so. In his last 5, nothing less than a 40. So, of course, you will have Jason Tatum in play. Zion Williamson, 7-7 on FanDuel, 7-8 on DraftKings. Oklahoma City, 9th against opposing power forwards. Of course, it's paced down game for New Orleans and paced up for Oklahoma City, but the upside, we just saw him have his first 50-point fantasy game in 27 minutes. Gotta like that. I don't think they have anyone that can deal with Zion. Gallinari, Nerlens Noel, what are they going to do trying to defend Zion Williamson? Next, Daniel Tice. He'll play about 30 minutes. He and Enes Kanter will split minutes at center. He'll play more than Kanter. He always does for some reason. Just came back from injury in the last game, put up a 34 in 30 minutes. His last time out against the Clippers, he put up a 42. The Clippers are 25th in the league against opposing centers, power forwards, centers. He's plays center. That's what he starts at. 5-3 on FanDuel, 4-6 on DraftKings. Love that price on DraftKings. Sign me up for some Tice. Nerlens Noel will play a few minutes. Not in love with the play, but if you do look at his last 4 against New Orleans, a 44, a 34, a 25, and a 20. So for some value at 4-2 on FanDuel, he's 3-2 on DraftKings. Only played 8 minutes in that last game. Kind of an outlier. I expect Nerlens Noel to bounce back a little bit from that. And then if Brandon Ingram is out, a guy who's seen 20 minutes or so since he's been out, Nicolo Melli. 4K on FanDuel and on DraftKings. 26, 21, and a 27 in his last 3 games in 22, 23, and 27 minutes. His shooting has gone up after having a bad start. He had that great opening night, if we all remember, and then he kind of fell off. Well, he's been better recently. The shooting's been there. If Brandon Ingram's out, he could see some minutes. And, of course, JaMychal Green will see his normal, 20 to 25 minutes. He has some upside. You're probably going to see him score in the teens at 3-7 and 3-2 if you're looking for a guy with some minutes. And trying to be super contrarian, that would be one way I could go as well. And let's go to centers. At the top, you have Montrezl Harrell. 5-6 on FanDuel, which I think is cheap for Montrezl Harrell. Then you look at DraftKings, he's 4,500 on DraftKings. Now, I know his minutes have been down the last few games, but again, we talked about it. The Clippers have beaten the brakes off their last couple opponents, so he hasn't needed to play a ton of minutes. And even in the 20 minutes he played in their last game, he still put up a 36. In his last 5 against Boston, only one of those games under a 28, and that was 5 games ago. He had a 17. He's also got a 36, a 31, a 29. At 4-5, are you kidding me? Absolutely too cheap. Boston 15th against opposing centers. Steven Adams, 5-4 on FanDuel, 5-3 on DraftKings. New Orleans is 18th against opposing centers. In his last 2 games against New Orleans, he put up a 40 both times. Love the Steven Adams play. Derek Favors, 5-1 on FanDuel, 4-9 on DraftKings. Now, he doesn't play a ton of minutes. I prefer Steven Adams, just a little bit more expensive over Derek Favors, but he will be one of the lower-owned players in this category. 5-1 and 4-9. Oklahoma City, 9th against centers, power forwards. His last time out against Oklahoma City, he put up a 19. The time before that, a 46. That was quite a ways ago. That was 5 games ago. But, of course, in a 2-game slate, if they're going to see the court, they're in play. A guy who could be lower owned, who I kind of like his upside today against Boston, even though Boston is 5th against opposing centers, is Ivica Zubac. 4-8 on FanDuel, 4-2 on DraftKings. His last 3 games against Boston, a 30, a 22, and a 20. Now, he's not going to play a ton of minutes. He's going to play 15 to 20 minutes. But you could see in 16 minutes in his last game, he put up a 28. A couple games ago in 21 minutes, he put up a 34. So there is some upside there for Zubac. And for some value, Enes Kanter. Again, they're going to play him. Sometimes if Tice is hurt, they'll let him get close to 30 minutes, but he'll probably be closer to that 20-minute mark. Clippers 22nd against opposing centers, 25th against power forwards. Thank you. Now I'm glad I got that stat right. In his last 5 against the Clippers, his last time out, a 17. The previous 3 before that, a 33, a 46, and a 40. So there is some upside there. It's just about minutes. But again, he'll see the court. There's some upside. He'll probably be low owned. Trying to do something different. I'll have some exposure there as well. So that is our look at each position in this 2-game slate. Again, you can get access to the research, the tool, the mass lineup generator, lineup optimizer, and my player pool by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool is you simply click on your Watched Players tab. At the top of your screen, you'll see a blue box that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks, as well as a timestamp from when it was last updated. Again, there shouldn't be a ton of news today. What we're really waiting on is the Brandon Ingram news. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor, and I will let you know when that's out. So now you can put it in the mass lineup generator, go through and set your exposures here in the mass exposure column using the lineup optimizer. We'll make a quick sample lineup on each side. Again, long way to go, and anything goes in a 2-game slate, really. Look, we have $1,100 salary left over here on FanDuel on this. I like that. Kemba, Chris Paul, Lou Williams, Jrue Holiday, Marcus Morris, Gallinari, Tice, Leonard, Kanter. Now, again, you could go up to Derek Favors here or Zubac and use some more of your salary, etc. But I like the idea of leaving $1,100 on the table for tournaments. Something I really like. So that's a interesting lineup there. I could certainly go there. If you want to go down to Lonzo here, and then you can get up to Steven Adams or Montrezl Harrell. Don't have an issue with that either. Let's go to DraftKings, where the pricing is soft today. So we got SGA, Jrue Holiday, Morris, Gallinari, Harrell, Chris Paul, Paul George, Dennis Schroeder. You still have 300. You can see there's a lot of ways you could go. Now, I probably won't have all 3 Oklahoma City guards, but that is a different kind of contrarian way of doing things. A lot of people probably won't do that. Now, if you want to go to a Lou Will right here instead of Schroeder, I totally get it. Use all of your salary. That would be more of a cash game lineup. Again, click the link. Try it for 30 days for $1. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Be part of our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. Don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. That's a lot of fun. A head-to-head type sweat. You're not playing against, mass entries, etc. It's just your picks. And then you're going, your head-to-head record against, other people's head-to-head records. It's a lot of fun. Check that out. Don't forget to check out our XFL video later today. Our Window Liquor Awards will be out next week. Good luck with your Valentine's Day shenanigans. I hope I help some people save some money there. If you actually do that, comment in the comment section. I want to know about it. I will shout you out. If you actually do that, let me know how the whole process goes. Again, not trying to break up marriages here. We don't want Lonnie superimposed on that photo. Enjoy the NBA All-Star break. Enjoy the week off from NBA DFS if it's been stressing you out this year. I appreciate you all. Content throughout the week. Thank you all so much. May the fantasy gods be with you. Cheers, 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 cheers. And we will see you all for our XFL videos, Window Liquor Awards, and then NBA next Thursday. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.